Ladies and gentlemen, in Tampa Bay, it must be Saturday morning at 8 a.m. because we are on the air. It is time to go low right here with your host, Jeff Stanislow from Golfers Unite. And it is time for the Caddie Corner with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy, where we talk about all this great and wonderful stuff that's going on in the world of golf. Thanks for joining us one time again, Mike.
Yeah, good to be here, Jeff.
So we just came off of the John Deere Classic, Mike, and it was an interesting finish. I would think that the purest of golfers and the golf fans might not have been as dialed in for the John Deere Classic. We got the World Cup soccer going on, and all of a sudden when you're looking up at a leaderboard that you might not recognize all the people, and you look at Max Homa, Glover, and Hodges, and these names, and this young Coles. It's just like the people that you're not used to seeing up on the leaderboard if you're dialed in. And I think that's part of the problem that golf is going to have in regards to their changes for 2028 with the Challenger and Championship Series. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on the John Deere? Now, you were there and you've played it, and let's just talk a little bit about the John Deere. And it's the second oldest, I think, named golf tournament in the PGA Tour. So,
yeah, I mean the golf course, pretty good golf course. It's always seems to be really soft, so that's why they shoot so low. It's always around 20 under. The year we won it, I think I won it with Jonathan Bird in 2007. I think we shot 18 under, something like that. But then the college kids go there. They have the NAIA championship there now. Obviously, a lot different level of golf. But the course when they're there, it's always seems to be firmer, faster. So the scoring, obviously a lot different. It's a pretty long golf course.
I think they said it was like 7,300 yards.
Yeah, it is a long golf course. So, but there again, I mean, they're pretty much throwing darts there. Usually the greens are so soft. So, and it was typical. I watched a little of it yesterday, and I was watching it in my pro shop with a kid that I'm giving lessons to, and you see Goddard's on fire, and I think he was on 14 or 15, and I said if he posts 20 or 21 he'll win, just because of the names that were up there. Now Lucas had it yesterday, he probably would have won the tournament because he can handle, but he just didn't have it yesterday. And I saw that he was over par, and he was back to 17 under or something, and I was like, well, Lucas doesn't have it. And the rest of these guys, I mean, Ben Coles, as much as I was pulling for him, had my doubts, and it turned out to be right. Goddard posted, and those guys that were up there couldn't catch him.
Yeah, this is Jeff Stanislow, your host of Let's Go Low, right here on AM 820 in Tampa. It's brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. Our special guest, as always, on the Caddie's Corner, our opening segment, is Mike Hicks from Mike Hicks Golf. If you want to check out Mike Hicks, he is available for speaking, coaching, training. If you got a specialty tournament coming up, or you want Mike on your bag for some type of special event, check out Mike at MikeHicksGolf.com. Back to the this weekend's John Deere Classic, and just here's a tournament that I think is going to be one of those that kind of struggle with the new format. Whether it's going to be a championship event, which I don't think it is probably going to be a challenger event. And then you look at from the John Deere's corporate side, it's like, hey, listen, we're like the second longest running sponsored PGA Tour event. We've been there for you for thick and thin. We're an American Heartland brand, and I'm just curious what your thoughts, as a my thoughts as a marketing person is that hopefully they become a champion series one, because I love the brand. But I think the course in itself and what the scores that they get, I think that limits them to the Challenger Series. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I think it'll all depend on, it's a scheduling thing. You're limited as far as weather up there, times of the year when you could go. It's hard to say. I mean, like you said, John Deere's been a great sponsor and been a great supporter of professional golf for a long time. You'd like to think that the tour would take that into consideration, when they do start naming these tournaments. Who knows? I mean, I have no idea what they'll do, but they certainly are deserving. And the golf course, it's a good golf course. I mean, it's a real good golf course. Logistically, it's not the greatest place, Moline, Illinois. It's,
Not as easy to get to.
Yeah, it's not that easy to get there for sure. But who knows? We'll see. I mean, they certainly are deserving of a one of the, what is the first tier called? Champions.
It's the championship and then the challengers, the
championship tier. So they are deserving of that. But who knows what the tour is going to do. I mean, and who knows if John Deere's going to want to pony up $20 million, right? I mean,
yeah, and I think that's kind of
obviously they're not going to pony up that much money. I mean, I don't think any of these sponsors are going to pony up the whole 20 mil. I mean, that's going to be subsidized by the tour some way. That's what they've always.
A big ask, and I think that's what's going to happen is, there's going to be corporations that are just going to buy these tournaments, right? You're going to see a lot of changeover. If you look at John Deere, if I'm the VP of marketing or in charge of that, I'm like, on one hand, you have the history, the legacy, the supporting, and on the other hand, you have like, well, this brand, John Deere, how much does it really need golf per se? Now they sell the golf equipment and stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure they're going to stay around. But at the end of the day, I think it's just going to be who's going to be writing the biggest checks to kind of own these championship series.
Exactly what's going to happen. The people that pony up the most are going to get the higher end tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see who falls in line with that. And like I said, you got the TV deal coming up. They got to re-sign that. And I think they're pretty worried, from what I understand, about what that's going to look like, because the TV people got kind of hosed in the last deal. So I think there's going to be a little retribution coming up with this next deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different types of media outlets now too. So like, I think there's more leverage and there's more, capabilities. Like, I watch a lot of the golf events on the PGA Tour's app. It is very, very, very good. You can see the shots. You can look up your player. You can see what they did on holes. You can follow each individual shot. It's really technically sophisticated, app. We're talking with Mike Hicks. Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy. And this is the Caddie Corner on Let's Go Low right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host, and this is brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. If you guys want to check out our new deal board, we're launching a brand new website this week. So you guys will be able to check it out, golfersunite.com, and we're going to have a new special deal board that's up for everybody to look at the deals that we curate for you. Mike, pivoting back to the John Deere and Ben Coles. So he's on 18 and he's got to make par to catch Goddard up and force a play up. So he is there and hits a great drive. He's got, I don't know, like a 9-iron or a wedge in his hand. And he just shorted his swing and pulled it and yanked it left with a draw, hit the hit the side of the hill and bounced in the water. And then, from there, tried to make the putt, left it, I don't know, about 4 feet. And then he missed the other putt. So he ended up making double bogey. I mean, you've been there with the players and, what have you in that situation where, they're, if he makes birdie, he wins. If he makes par, he pushes. But it just looked like he was just a dead pull. It was, it wasn't like I'm going at the pin type thing. What goes through the players' minds in that situation? And then to miss the 4-footer, to take second and they drop down to third place. What goes through your players' mind when they're up there? Is it just they're just pissed or upset? And, so talk to us a little bit about that.
In his defense, excuse me, that's a very difficult pit position. His back left. I'm sure it's where it always is. And it's a tough fit for any club, so if it's in sort of a little nook back there. And if you can hit a shot pin high, the perfect yardage to the pin, but if you miss a little right, it's going in a bunker. You're going to miss the green, and then it's an impossible up and down pretty much. So you've kind of, if that shot, you've pretty much got to unless you want a 40-footer, which is a real tough 2-putt, you got to kind of take that flag on. If he's got a short club in his hand, I'm sure he had to take the shot on, but it's a very difficult shot, even though it's a wedge or a 9-iron. I didn't see the shot, but I guess he might have been trying to take something off of a 9-iron, and when you do that, your tendency is your body slows down, the arms take over, and you pull it. So I'm assuming that's probably what happened.
That's key right there.
The shots I watched
for our
yesterday,
listeners, Mike, yeah, that tip that you just gave for our listeners is very valuable. Yeah. Hey, if you're an amateur golfer and you're trying to hit something, I guess, safe and not taking a good swing at it, always keep in mind, if you're not taking that full swing and you slow your bodies down and your arms stay the same speed, it goes left. So just tuck that one away. That's a good tip, Mike.
Yeah. If you're gonna if you're taking something off of an iron, you got to keep your body speed up. Obviously there's different ways to hit that shot. You do it with speed, or you do it by choking up on the club. The old guys used to choke up on the club and then just go ahead and swing at it. That's how I play the shots. But anyway, I watched some of it yesterday, and Ben was swinging so good. I mean, it's the best I've ever seen him swing the golf club, and he's been on a bit of a roll lately. He won the Corn Ferry event in South Carolina. He qualified for the U.S. Open, made the cut there. So he had his game has been headed in the right direction. I could see why after watching him swing at it yesterday, swinging beautifully. So hated that for him. He's been knocking on the door of having success on the tour for a long time. And hopefully he'll just pick himself up, and that was a big short putt he missed. That was probably a $300,000 putt he missed.
Yeah.
Tied for second, and tied for, well, in that case it would have been fourth. As it turns out, tied for third. There was it was probably a $300,000 putt that he missed. And you hate that. You hate that for him. It's a lot of money for him and his caddy.
The analysts were saying, this is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning on the Big 8 with our special guest, Mike Hicks from MikeHicksGolf.com. Mike was Payne Stewart's former caddy, 35 years plus on the tour. Pleasure to have him here. If you guys are interested in talking with Mike, or maybe you have a VIP event or pro-am and you want him to come on your bag, speak at an event or what have you, go to MikeHicksGolf.com. And as always, check out Golfers Unite. GolfersUnite.com is the sponsor of this event and this show. So we appreciate you doing that there. Mike, you mentioned that $300,000 putt. I'd imagine most amateurs can't, really go through it. But in quickly here, we got 30 seconds or so. What is the number one thought that you put through your players or when you're playing yourself? When you're in that situation, you got to make a clutch shot. Just one quick swing thought.
Just you got to totally commit, and you also got to remember, if you're in a pressure situation, you're better off going ahead and swinging at something than trying to take something off of an iron. So, I don't know what the situation was yesterday with Ben. I have no idea.
Right.
If it was a yardage, I don't know anything about it. I didn't watch the shot. So,
okay. All right, guys, we're going to tune back in. Mike's going to join us for another episode here on Let's Go Low. This is Jeff Stanislaw. Thank you, Tampa, for listening in. Welcome back, Tampa. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of Let's Go Low, right here on AM 820. We appreciate all you guys listening to this great world of golf that we got going on. Mike Hicks from Mike Hicks Golf is joining us again for a second segment because we touched on something at the end of our first segment about, Ben Coles and number 18 and what he was thinking and what he was trying to accomplish. And I wanted to bring Mike back in because I wanted to talk to him about the amateur golfer. I'm an amateur golfer. I go out there and there's so many things that I think I do okay, but there's so many things that I don't do well. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about with Mike here joining us is just the amateur golfer and the golfing mindset and thinking through, your round of golf. Mike, thanks for joining us again for the second segment.
Sure.
So, Mike, let's just start from the beginning. We're all excited to go play a round of golf, right? And, sometimes you get out there and you're so excited and then you don't play well and then you're upset but sometimes you go out there and you have no expectations and you play well. Just a crazy mindset. I mean, you've been at, on the highest level of golf, but from an amateur, maybe what would you do, now that you're, semi-retired from the bag and, what have you, but when you're going to go play a round of golf at your club, let's just start from the very top. When you wake up in the morning, let's say you got a 9 o'clock tee time, what's your mindset?
Well, let's start a little earlier then. Let's say, you go and get a lesson, right? And my advice and what the problem I see with most amateurs, they get a lesson and then they just go play, right? So my advice to everybody that goes and gets a lesson, don't play golf for weeks. Use the 3-4 hours that you're going to spend playing golf to practice the lesson. That's my biggest pet peeve with amateur golfers is, I teach a lot of people, but they'll come back to you a month later and you're still working on the same stuff that you gave them the lesson for the beginning because they haven't practiced it. So my advice to all amateurs, if you get a lesson, go practice what the pro is getting you to do. But you're more than likely going to go back and get another lesson because, listen, the golf swing is not built in one day. There's certain segments that you have to go through, the takeaway, the backswing, the downswing. And they're not going to touch on all that in one lesson. So you have to perfect it as good as you can in stages. So that's my biggest advice to everybody. If you get a lesson, practice the lesson before you go play. I mean, put some hours in, not just 1 or 2 range sessions. And then when I go and play, now, I'm not a big hit a bunch of balls guy before I play because I just don't have that many swings in me anymore. I may hit a few balls, mostly just stretch, loosen up I'll just stretch, and then I'll go play. I've played my best rounds of golf by not even hitting a golf ball before. So some people can't play, and they if they don't go and hit balls prior to,
Right.
I think that's a mental thing. Oh, I should have warmed. If they play bad, I should have warmed up. I knew I should have warmed up. Well, you just never know. I think the biggest thing to do is definitely warm your body up in some capacity, whether it's a long walk, a run. But I always stretch before I go and play.
Yeah.
Always go and putt. Always spend 15 minutes, putting. Because that's where you're gonna save your shots, is making putts.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, you see people all the time, they're looking at the pin, right? You're trying to shoot at the pin. Well, if you want to score in this game, and even at the highest level, these guys don't shoot at every pin. They shoot into the fat of the green, with the mid to long irons. They hit a long iron close to the hole, they've either pushed it or pulled it. They haven't made a perfect swing. They've pushed or pulled from where they're actually aiming the shot. So my advice is to just try to hit the greens. You don't have to hit the ball, 10 feet from the hole to score. I mean, it's nice to do that occasionally, but how many times are you going to do that if you're, a 15 handicapper? Not very often.
Right.
So just try to hit the green, try to put the ball where you can play the next shot from. If you hit it in trouble on the tee, take your medicine. I always tell people, if you have a wedge yardage that you love, that you're good at, that you're consistent with, try to lay that ball up to that number. If that's just pitching the ball out 20 yards to get to that number, pitch it out to that number.
Yeah, it works. It
Yeah.
works too, Mike. This is Mike Hicks. Mike is Payne Stewart's former caddy. We're talking about amateur golf, and he's kind of helping us through here today. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of Let's Go Low. Again, Tampa, thanks for tuning in. Let's Go Low is brought to you by golfersunite.com. That's golfersunite.com. Check out the new website for the leaderboard with all the leaderboard deals that we got going on. And if you're interested in having Mike Hicks be on your bag for a special event or speak at your dinner event, go to MikeHicksGolf.com, and he's available to, maybe do that for you. Yeah, Mike, a perfect example. Yesterday, I'm playing number 16 at my club, and it's a par 5. And so I hit a good drive, and then I hit an 8-iron, and my playing opponent was like, "Why are you hitting an 8-iron?" I'm like, "Because I'm tired of hitting the 3-wood and having some goofy ass number over a trap." And I'm like, "I hit the 8-iron. I put it at about 100 yards. I think I was 105. I hit the 50 degree. I got it on the green, 2-putt par, walked away, no problem. You know what I mean?" So
yeah.
And it was just like easy peasy, and it felt good. And so, me as an amateur golfer, that's what I am working on now, is just not always grip it and rip it and pin seek and just whatever max distance that you have, hit it and go from there. So that's some really good advice. And then,
I mean, amateur golf. I mean, you watch professional golf, and everybody. It's like the clubs. You're going to get the clubs the pros are playing. You're going to try and play like the pros are playing. But if you want to score at this game, you have to play smart. You have to take your medicine when you're. It's all about saving shots, right?
Yeah.
If you can make a bogey instead of a double, or a double instead of a triple, you've saved a shot, right? And I will say this too. People spend way too much time, learning how to hit the golf ball when they should be around, working around the greens, chipping and putting, especially putting, because that's where you're going to save your strokes. That's where you're going to get your handicap is going to get lower by by saving shots around the greens.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
amateur golfers aren't going to hit that many fairways. They're not going to hit that many greens. It's all about chipping and putting.
Yeah, 100%. That's really, really good advice. You're listening to Mike Hicks. Mike Hicks is Payne Stewart's former caddy, knows a thing or two about learning how to shave some strokes here. Hopefully this is helpful for you. This is Jeff Stanislaw, your host of the Let's Go Low show right here, AM 820, the Big 8, and it's brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. You nailed it right on the head there. Half the golfers don't even practice putt before their round. They just go right from the range and they go right to the tee box. They don't even check out the green. You're saying spend 15 minutes on the green putting, at 100%. Least as an amateur. You go get the feel, get the speed, dial it down, work on your grip, work on your posture, grip alignment with your putting stroke. Yeah. And, you got to do that. And then the other thing that you just mentioned, and I think it's 100% right. You want to learn how to score in this game, and as a average golfer, get good with your wedge and get good with your putter.
Yeah, that's right. That's where you're gonna save your strokes. You're only gonna get so good at striking a golf ball consistently because most people don't have the time to practice as much as you have to get really good at striking the ball. So spend less time, learning how to strike it and more time learning how to get it in the hole.
And that's free. Most ranges or courses, they have chipping areas and they have putting areas. You don't have to go buy a bag of balls.
That's right.
Just practice for free.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Learn how to hit those different chip shots, in different types of turf. Learn how to get it, chip it from the fringe, clip it.
And if you're not a good putter and you're not a good chipper, get somebody that knows what they're talking about to help you out. Because you can learn, there's a lot of stuff out there now that you can become, you can learn a good stroke, and you can, chipping is all about technique. It's a mini golf swing. You can't just move your arms and your shoulders. You have to actually move your torso along with the arms and the hands. So it's like a mini swing. And a lot of people don't do that. They just stand over the ball. The lower body never moves. And then, learning how to, make a consistent putting stroke. That is one thing that everybody can learn to do, because you're not moving the whole body in a putting stroke. You can learn how to make a pretty good stroke if you just get some good advice, some good coaching up, and then just put some time in doing it.
Yeah, 100%. This is Jeff Stanislaw, and you're listening to Let's Go Low right here on AM 820. We're talking with Mike Hicks. Mike Hicks is Payne Stewart's former caddy, and Mike's given amateurs some great advice. Now, Mike, I had the opportunity to go to Nashville, go to the Seymour Putters headquarters, and work with you and a gentleman, Pat O'Brien. Some may know, some may not. That's Zach Johnson's putting coach. So I got to work with you guys and get fitted for a Seymour putter. Completely changed my stroke, but what does an amateur golfer do? Went back and I just started putting, and I didn't even practice putting. I just went right to the thing. And I'm like, I'm wondering why I'm 3-putting everything. So,
yeah, right.
But I got disciplined with it, and now I'm putting really, really well. Now, is everything going in? No, you're still an amateur, right?
Yeah.
But my 3 putts are now 2 putts, and I'm making a lot more 1 putts. It's a fantastic experience, but all the technology, all the training, all the videos you watch on YouTube or anything cannot ever replace you taking your putter 3 balls and doing some drills on the course a couple times a week for a half an hour to an hour. And it's free.
Yeah, that's right. 100%. 100%. My advice is just get some, there are not many, PGA pros that like to teach putting, but there are enough people around. You may have to, drive a couple hours, but there are enough people around that are just strictly putting coaches now. I happen to be one of them. And I'm helping a couple of kids now that are playing in college. Well, one is going to college, The other one is already in college. And, I've got them both in Seymour putters, and they're both, the one kid that's going off to college next year is putting the best he's ever putted in his life. I played in a tournament with him this weekend, and we were on the same team, and I had 9 one putts, and he had at least 8 one putts out of our foursome. We were the two of us were the ones that made all the putts. But I've been teaching him now for a little over a year, and he's become a really good putter. I've always been a good putter.
Right.
So, and don't take lessons from somebody that can't putt. Find somebody that can putt if you want to learn how to putt.
There you go. I love it. This is Mike Hicks, MikeHicksGolf.com. Mike is Payne Stewart's former caddy. 30 plus years on the bag in the professional, almost 40 as over 40 as a professional. Mike just made the offer. If you guys want Mike to help you putt, go to MikeHicksGolf.com. Check it out. And Mike, you can actually do some of this through video, right? Because
sure,
putting stroke, you can set the camera behind you. You can take 5 putts, and you can do an analysis of someone's putting stroke and maybe get it started to helping someone out and put them on the right path. Is that?
Yeah. The biggest thing with most amateurs is they miss aim. So if you aim left, you have to push. If you aim right, you have to pull to make a putt. So the key to learning how to putt is learning how to aim first and foremost. That's why it's very important, in my opinion, that the line that they put on the ball now is, in my opinion, you're not very smart if you don't use that.
Right.
Because you may not read the putt right, you may not have the right speed on it, but if your putter has a line on it, all you got to do is match that line up with the line on the ball, and you're aiming where you want to aim.
That's why they put that stuff up there, Mike.
That's right.
Have you back. I think our audience is really going to like this. We'll, if you're willing to help us, through this coaching side of things, we'll do some
100%.
more of this. This is Jeff Stanislow, and this is another great episode of Let's Go Low right here in Tampa. Thank you, Tampa, for all your listening, and thank you, AM 820, for having me. Let's go low, everybody. Welcome back, Tampa. This is Jeff Stanislow, your host of the Let's Go Low show right here on AM 820. And we're making it happen in the world of golf and business and things all in that nature, because they go hand in hand. Our special guest today is Richard Lyons. He is with Top Flight Home Loans. Ritchie is coming back for the second time because he and I had a great conversation before about, just golf courses and real estate. And I asked him to come back because I think we got some more to talk about it. How you doing today, Ritchie?
Doing good. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So, before we dive into some of the business side of things, let's talk a little bit about, the golf world. How's your golf game going right now?
As bad as we discussed last time.
As bad as we discussed last time. I love it. You working on anything?
So I still just don't have the opportunity to get on the weekends anymore, but I am trying to find time in my schedule to actually, if not go out during the week to the range, practice, and just get my swing back to where it was.
Yeah, I was talking earlier to Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's caddy, and he and I talked at length about the amateur golfer compared to the pro golfer, and so many things that they do differently. And the amateur golfer, one of the things that he recommends best is, like, you start thinking about, going out and playing golf and hitting a tee ball and hitting an approach shot. You're going to have a lot of variables, but he said, if you want to learn how to score and start shaving strokes off the game, just work around the green with your wedges and your putter, and just work on it if you want to learn how to shave some strokes off your game. You're going to have your errant hits off the tee and approach shots and what have you. But if you can start getting it closer to the green, you can start saving some scores, and it's free to do so. I mean, most driving ranges or golf courses usually have a practice area. You don't have to buy a bucket of balls. You can bring a few balls and start get to work. So
that's true. A lot of your strokes aren't lost when you're taking full swings, right? They're lost when you're taking those quarter swings, half swings, trying to control it.
Yeah. And if you can become a better putter and, you start, making less 3 putts and making more 2 putts, you figure out like, okay, if I'm playing 18 holes and I can shave a stroke off, every 9 holes, or 2, all of a sudden you're going from, a 20 handicap to like a 16 handicap, just by putting some work in. So
it's true.
Yeah. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low right here on AM 820, the Big 8 in Tampa. We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. This episode is brought to you by Golfers Unite. It's golfersunite.com. You guys go check out our new website. We just launched the HOOKUP board where you can get all these great deals that we're curating for our members. There's absolutely free. And if you want some premium deals, we do have a membership opportunity where you can join for free to Golfers Unite, and you can join a premium member and get better deals and better access to brands. That's golfersunite.com. So, Ritchie, let's dive into it. Last time we talked about, living on a golf course and the real estate values, just, kind of in general in some terms. But, we're here in Tampa. And one of the things that we wanted to cover was, some localized real estate. And you did some research on a couple of properties. Let's just talk about, how you got started in doing some of the research. And let's talk about the properties and, maybe a little bit of discovery on what you found.
Yeah, so as far as the research, I mean, this is kind of the industry I'm in, right? It's mortgages, so I'm very real estate focused. So it's kind of easy data to pull. So what I did was I kind of just wanted to compare 2 of the more known neighborhoods, golf course neighborhoods here in Tampa, Westchase compared to Cheval, which is, both are higher end real estate.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. I mean, we talked offline about maybe looking at like Palmacia or something like that, but the inventory just doesn't move as much in that area. So it's really hard to get it. And a lot of it's private sale. If someone does move, it's one of the neighbors finds out that the neighbor's moving and they have a friend and boom, the house is gone, not even listed on the market. So hard to get some comparisons. And I think doing Westchase and Cheval was a good strategy, to kind of go with. What were some of the things that you discovered, Ritchie?
So what I found was that, much to my surprise, so Westchase actually has more liquidity and appreciation than Cheval because Westchase actually attracts a broader buyer. But if we're going to compare like the non-golf course home to the golf course home, we're looking at a substantial difference. In Westchase, your non-golf homes on like non-golf course homes are probably ranging between $550,000 to $700,000. Once you start getting on the golf course, in Westchase, you're probably spending $650,000 to $950,000. And then once you get those premium estates or those premium lots, like in Harbor Links, which is a gated community in Westchase, you're probably spending about $900,000 to $1.1 million. So if we compare that to Cheval, Cheval is going to be higher end on each price range, right? Whereas the premium golf course holes in Westchase, like I said, is 900 to 1.1. In Cheval, it's about 1.3 to almost $2.5 million.
Wow.
The estates are larger, the lots are bigger, homes are bigger.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm familiar with both. I was actually a member at Cheval back in the day when Mr. Shields was the owner and went through some transitions and stuff like that with them. And also I lived in Westchase for a little while when I first moved down from Michigan, and both are great golf courses. Westchase is a fully public course. course though, where is Cheval fully private now, or is it still semi-private?
It's still semi-private.
Okay, so someone could go out and schedule a tee time from the public. What do they have, like limited tee times availability, and they have the morning tee times on the weekend for the members type thing?
Yeah, and I think you could probably get on like Saturday after 10 or 11 o'clock at Cheval.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of have two things, or you have a semi-private club, so that's going to add value to your home, and plus Cheval, the entire uh, community is gated, and there's not a separate gated area. And one factor that it has over there is the TPC is kind of adjoining to it.
It does have TPC, absolutely.
Yeah, so you kind of have two courses for one, but it is which makes a big difference. But you don't really have the nice downtown area where you have in Westchase, where it's kind of like its own little, Westchase is its own little city in itself type thing. It's got its own little mini downtown area.
True, you get more of a town feel, right? Family environment. You're closer to downtown Tampa, the airport, so you have a lot more at your disposal. You're closer to Carrollwood. But Cheval offers quiet, which to me is a huge attraction.
Yeah. Sometimes being quiet is very valuable. No, I loved Westchase. I enjoyed living there a lot. I liked walking, to some of the restaurants and the entertainment value there is great. They used to have events all the time, and so I really enjoyed Westchase a lot. And I enjoyed my time at Cheval. It was just, not the right time because it was during a transition, period for the course.
Is that when Larry King Jr. Stepped in?
Yeah, it was during that area and Shields, and then Larry King and, kind of came in. I think Larry purchased the athletic center first. I was gone before he kind of took over on some of the golf side of things. But anyways, so your research is finding that being on course and being across the street from the course can have significant, value differences, or even maybe a street or two over from the course. It fluctuates quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just Harbor Links itself, right? In Westchase, I mean, you're looking probably maybe $150,000 to $200,000 premium just from being across the street from the golf course. So, people pay to be on it. They want to get out at sunset and practice on the fairway with their kids.
Yeah, I lived across the street from a golf course, and I think I mentioned to you previously, my wife didn't want to be out on the back lanai and watching golfers come up, or more so, I'm sure she wouldn't mind watching them. She did not want them to watch us. Let's put it that way. So,
do you ever try to do that trick where they accidentally an errant ball comes into your yard and you lay face down on your grass? You make them think that they hit you.
No, but I do have to say, one time I came out and I heard a crack, and my windshield, or my rear quarter panel window on my truck, had a ball stuck halfway in the window.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that might have been me.
Yeah, that might have been you. That might have been you. We're talking with Ritchie Lyons. Ritchie's with Top Flight Home Loans, and we're talking about residential real estate in the Tampa Bay area, being on a golf course. Since we're talking about golf here on the Let's Go Low show, this episode is brought to you by Golfers Unite. If you guys get a chance, check out golfersunite.com. Look at some of the great deals that we have. Join as a free membership if you want. And we have a paid membership, which is $30 a year. You get access to all 18 of our brand partners with exclusive discounts that would pay for its own membership, maybe after a purchase or two. So, Richie, what other things did you kind of discover in your research with those two things that you thought might be notable?
Just the noticeable difference was the appreciation factor, right? So Westchase, when it comes to Harbor Links and other golf course homes, it appeals to a broader buyer, right? I mean, so people who don't really know anything about golf might actually move to Westchase, so homes turn over quicker there. So you're gonna actually get more appreciation. But in Cheval, they don't sell as quick. So, but they still maintain their value because of the luxury feeling and lifestyle that Cheval offers.
So I guess the turn rate in Westchase is quite a bit higher. I mean, I know that for a fact, but one of the things that I think might attract a Westchase buyer is not only the golf course, but also the downtown environment. You got places you can walk to and parks and things like that. They do a fantastic job over there, really supporting the community with all their parks and walking pathways and events, and then the golf course. Whereas Cheval, if you're not a golfer, per se, or you might think Cheval is more dedicated for the golfer as it is, kind of a dedicated golf community, even though they have a fantastic athletic center with tennis courts and what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, again, Westchase is going to attract that broader buyer, right? That wants that town feeling, somewhere they can take their family on Friday nights. And Cheval tends to lean to attract a more narrow pool of buyers seeking, like you said, specific golf course country club living. Right.
Yeah, I know it's kind of the same, same vibe that I was looking for when I moved down from Michigan. We looked in South Tampa, we looked in Westchase, and then we looked in Lutz. And we were in Westchase for a while and loved it. But then the kids got a little older and we didn't like the kind of the feeder schools for high school level. So we ended up moving to the Lutz area. My boys ended up at Jesuit, but my daughter didn't want anything to do with private school. So after Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she went to Steinbrenner. So we felt very comfortable in, that a little bit of higher education, the high school level, being at Steinbrenner. So that was one of the reasons why we went out to, came up to Lutz. So let's talk a little bit more about golf, Ritchie. I know you haven't been playing as much as you should, and I got to get on you about that.
Just send me a text every morning. Get out there.
Exactly. Go hit that bucket of balls,
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about an event that we're early in the planning stages and what we're trying to do. We are going to go out and visit Tamarack in out west. So
in Idaho. Yep. We fly into Boise, then it's a 2-hour drive from Boise. It's a beautiful town called Donnelly, Idaho, and Tamarack Resort is out there.
And so Tamarack Resort is the #1 ranked golf course, resort golf course in the state of Idaho.
Osprey Meadows, which is at Tamarack, is the #1 ranked public course in Idaho. Osprey Meadows happens to be at Tamarack.
Yeah. So we're really excited about that. We're going to kind of do a preview event is our plan for a large kind of internet creator invitational in 2027 that's going to be hosted at Tamarack as well. So we're going to kind of do a preview event at the end of September, right?
Yeah, looking for that third week of September, and it's going to be great because the creators who are coming, right, that these golf influencers that we are inviting, the difference between this and something else that they might be able to go to is they can bring their families here because it's a family resort, so their families while they're there can do family activities. They can get in the lake, they can take a boat out, they can go swimming, and then after they're done with the tournament themselves, they can join them.
Yeah, we're really excited about checking that out. So I think September 25th is the date that we're doing the preview event. We're going to invite Visit Idaho and publications and Golf Magazine Digest and things of that nature to come out.
Tiger Woods.
We're going to individually invite some special creators that probably out in Seattle or, whoever can kind of make it to do the preview with us. And then we'll have all the details done for our 2027 event by then. I'm really looking forward to it because I think one of the things that Tamarack offers, as you mentioned, is the amenities that they have. we really want to gear this to be a family, kind of event. And they have zip lining, mountain biking, hiking, fishing. They got all different types of lodging. You can stay at the lodge, or
you can rent out a private home.
Private homes and condos available. So we're really excited about that. Well, Ritchie Lyons from Top Flight Home Loans, thanks again for joining us here on the Let's Go Low Show. If you want to learn more about the event at Tamarack, you can just email jeff@golfersunite.com if there's some interest level there, jeff@golfersunite.com. And Ritchie, how does someone get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you about what you do? And you do home loans, and you help people with that. So
yep, I do home and commercial loans, so residential and commercial, and you can reach me at 813-361-6860, or you
one
can
more time on that, Ritchie.
813-361-6860, or you can look me up on Instagram at Richard Lyons _loan officer.
Richard Lyons _loan officer on Insta. This has been another great episode of Let's Go Low. Thank you, Tampa, for tuning in. GolfersUnite.com. Thank you for supporting it. Take care. Until next time.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.